not give themselves a really good chance of winning the county championship outright, will certainly be in with a shout of getting through to the Bob Willis Trophy. The Yorkshire-Warwickshire game has been low scoring as well. Yorkshire need 174 runs to win with 7 wickets in hand. They will need to score the biggest total of the game in order to win that one. So, as you say, Rob, it's all to play for, and it also means that Somerset have a big role to play in this if they can get themselves ahead and perhaps put Lancashire under a bit of pressure as well.
Yeah, and that is not going to be easy, but they just have to take the first session, as you always do. You talk about as a coach, talk about that first hour, all that type of stuff. They've got to somehow try and give them a tricky chase.
Yeah, that's throwing things forward. Let's have a look back to yesterday. Very pleased to say Tom Lammonby joins us. Tom, very, very well played. Now, that must have felt fantastic for you yesterday, because it's been a bit of a struggle with the bat for you this year.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a bit of a turbulent year for myself. So it was obviously a bit of a relief to get to 3 figures yesterday, and it's just a shame couldn't really capitalise on that and really put the Lancashire bowlers under a bit more pressure and still be back this morning.
Put a bit of meat on the bones of the struggle that you've had in 4-day cricket. I mean, you were averaging 13 and a half in 18 innings up until yesterday. What happened in terms of your mindset? It looked as though you were very different in the way you approached things in the second innings to the first.
Yeah, I think obviously that half-time break in between innings and going back into following on, I had a few chat with the coach or with some couple of senior players up there, and it was almost go out there and look to be a bit more positive. And from that, I think my movement, my feet, everything seemed to just be that touch sharper, touch quicker, and really felt a little bit easier for me out there.
So is that something that this is the first time you've sort of said, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and play shots, or is it something you've tried earlier on in the season and not quite worked?
I don't think it was a case of going out there and playing shots. I think it was more the positive intent of if they bowl a bad ball, I'm going to hit it, and being in that frame of mind. And naturally from there, I think it helped my defensive game as well, in being able to leave the ball and defend when they bowled good areas and good lines.
You also, I mean, it looks quite a tough time to be a young batsman. We see that coming through. You see the scores. People aren't getting 1,500-1,600 runs like they used to be. Why do you think that is? I'm
not 100% sure. I think for myself, probably a few expectations, obviously coming off the back of last year, and maybe putting a bit too much pressure on myself, or potentially some of the pitches early on. Being an opener is quite tough in the months April, May, and then looking to capitalise sort of the back end of the year like yesterday was nice. But yeah, so I can't really answer that for everyone. But
one of the things that was a marked difference perhaps was your intent against balls sort of perhaps back of a length or shorter than that. Let's just have a couple of look at a couple of the shots that you played early on to get yourself off to a bit of a flyer. Bailey just missed his length a tiny bit, and you were very quick on the pull shot. Yeah,
as I said, I don't think I changed anything with the way I set up or anything like that. It was the positive, the attitude, and coming out from that second innings with Greener as well helping me up top. We really looked to take on the Lancashire bowlers early on. I think it almost shocked them a little bit, put them on the back foot, and as we saw, they bowled a few more bad balls to us, and we capitalised on them.
What about playing spin as well? You mate Parkinson, you just said you play with him in the 100,
yeah.
So you know quite a lot about him. But I mean, you just basically said, I'm going to run at you and smash you. Was that the plan before you went out to bat?
No, I think Parker's quite clever. He didn't bowl me once up in the 100, so it was nice to be able to face him and obviously play against a mate. But as well, he's got such high quality with his spin bowling, way he changes pace, his lengths is incredible. So I just didn't want to make him settle and make him feel like he was going to bowl at me. So I think the pitch helped me a little bit. It wasn't turning as much as he would like it to, but as we know, he's a quality bowler. So I just didn't want to let him settle and feel like he could just bowl at me.
Throwing it forward then, 57 runs behind. You've got James Hildreth at the crease. You've still got some good batting to come. Are there sort of thoughts in the dressing room that, you know what, we get 150 on, maybe 200 on, we've got a real chance of turning this game on its head and getting a win out of this?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the mindset with everyone in the change room, and we know the depth that we've got in our batting lineup, even right to number 11. So hopefully we can, as you say, put on a score for them to chase. Hopefully with a bit of pressure, a bit of good bowling, we can really get into the game and put them under pressure and hopefully get a win.
You mentioned your mate Matt Parkinson and his quality. You weren't expecting Luke Wells, I take it, yesterday.
No, it was a bit of a funny one, isn't it? You sort of get to the three figures and subconsciously you switch off a little bit, or I don't really know what it was, but it was just a bit frustrating. Obviously, with so much time left in the game, and with us having a lot to do, it would have been nice to really capitalise on feeling good on a good wicket and putting them under a bit more pressure.
Did he do you for length there?
I think so, yeah. It was just almost a bit taller, a bit, yeah, just a bit of a lapse of concentration as well, going back to a slightly fuller one, which was, yeah, I'd say frustrating, but also a bit of a relief walking
outside the line or not?
I shouldn't give the umpire the opportunity, should I? So, for me,
well answered.
Yeah, felt out. So.
Right, if you don't want to get given out LBW, you don't miss it on the back foot. Yeah, that makes good sense to me. Rob, how do you see the day playing out? I mean, these overhead conditions might play a part, mightn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Generally, when the cloud comes over, that's when this pitch has actually misbehaved a bit more. So you expect, actually, what is a pretty good bowling attack, and Blatherwick was excellent yesterday. To be hard work on there. This is not going to be easy for the batsmen.
No, it won't be. Tom, thanks very much for joining us. Go and join your teammates. Excellent to speak with you this morning. So we start the day's play with James Hildreth on 22 not out, Lewis Goldsworthy with him on 5 not out, and the commentators up in the box will be Lydia Greenway and Charles Dagnall.
Thank you, Mark. Somerset start again today. 4 down, still trailing by 57 runs after following on, being rolled out for 90 in their first innings. Conditions not too dissimilar to yesterday. Low overhead cloud. Feel there's something there for the bowlers. Pitch has lightened up. It's verdant nature on the first day. Still encouragement. Ball 49 overs old, so still another 31 overs till they potentially have a new one. And it's going to be Danny Land to kick things off from the river end. Hildreth and Goldsworthy resuming. Thousands and thousands of runs on this ground. As James Hildreth is going to need to roll back the years if Somerset are to stay in this game. And a very good morning to Lydia Greenway. Thanks for popping down for potentially 20 overs of cricket.
Morning, Daggers. Morning, everyone. I have to admit, I was watching the game yesterday. I might just hold off getting in the car, but it was brilliant to see Somerset fight back. Showing some good resilience.
I'm sure you don't want to travel all those miles and see it wrapped up. I'm sure from a Lancashire perspective, they would be delighted to see that. Those who are here around the ground want to see a little bit more resilience. Somerset had 2 heavy defeats. Second half of this championship season, both by an innings. Potential for a 3rd in a row. Bonuses. Is that they're resuming the ball's not brand new, it is 50 overs old. So you'd imagine it won't be zipping around all over the place. A good opportunity for batters to set their stall out early.
Yeah, I think both teams would have spoken about the first half an hour of today and just how important that is for Hildreth and Goldsworthy. It's just trying to get through that period. There are overhead conditions. Just try and get themselves back in again. And then for lengths, it's all about the wickets.
Finds the outside edge, just beat a single. Tom Bailey down there protecting the third man region. So Somerset off the mark for the morning. 227 for 4.
Right arm over, that's middle stump, James, eh? Middle stump.
Fairly gentle start to the morning, just a single taken from the first Danny Lamb over. Tom Bailey. Expensive in the second innings yesterday. Couldn't quite find that nip and movement that he found in the first innings. Definitely a loosener.
Yeah, it was a complete role reversal, wasn't it, with the Lancs bowling attack. In the first innings, it was the seamers who did all the damage, taking the wickets. Didn't even seen the spinners feature. And so far, in this second innings, it's been the spinners who have done the work, taking the wickets.
That's the Bailey area. That's his bread and butter. No great pace, but metronomic. His line and length, just looking from a hint of away movement. Good county pro is Tom Bailey. A decent height, gets a little bit of bounce as well. Had quite a bit of overnight rain. Somerset area. Traditional dust being laid out just to secure the bowler's footing. One of Somerset's young crop of players, just 20 years old, Lewis Goldsworthy. Cornwall, came through the Somerset Academy. England under-19 player as well, slow left armour by trade. Just sliding down. There's plenty of young starlets, though, in this area. Think of Will Smead, impressed during the 100 tournament. Not sure if you can still class Tom Banton in that young starlets category, but I think you possibly can. Oh, that's good. That's good from Bailey. Leading edge. Just playing around that front pad. Hildreth. And Lammonby as well, who I thought spoke very well this morning to Rob Key and Mark Butcher.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of young talent around in this area. I think not just Somerset, but Cornwall, Devon as well. They'll often see them feeding into the Somerset Academy. Two, 3-1 for 4. That's what you want, isn't it, from your counties? Make sure those academies are producing high quality young players.
Well, I was talking to Mike Atherton yesterday about the hotbed of cricket that Lancashire has always had through its league systems. Hundreds of leagues, seemingly, that there is up there, but just due to time, there was... I'm not able to mention what is on offer down in this part of the world. You think of Devon and Cornwall, the amount of cricket that's played, but obviously the closest first-class county being here. So you think of the catchment area that Somerset have. There's a lot so well by the academy here. There's also a very close link with Millfield School. I see a lot of Millfield youngsters making their way, and there's a link with the county there. But Goldsworthy himself, I think, went to Millfield. So there's a lot for them to choose from and to try and bring through.
And I think for Somerset as well, they've obviously had a huge amount of success in white ball competitions over the years. I think 8 titles in total, yet to win a county championship title. So I'm sure they'll be keen to make sure that those young batters coming through, Will Smee, Tom Lammonby, seeing how good they are with the white ball, but they might just be challenged in red ball competitions, just to make sure that they can contribute to that.
Well, they'll tell you, the locals will tell you how close they've come on numerous occasions. Is it our year? It won't be this year. However, they've got T20 finals day to look forward to this coming Saturday. Down here for the quarter-final against Lancashire. Place was absolutely rocking, as I'm sure Edgbaston will be on Saturday. .231 for 4, maiden over. The LEDs have been switched on. This is a little gloomy and a little close. Eco-friendly floodlights down here at Somerset. That's where the weather comes from, usually. Can't see the Black Downs over beyond the churches. St James's and St Mary Magdalene churches. I knew that. In no way did Benedict just tell me in my ear.
Just pleased the lights are working, Daggers. We were down here a few days ago and they completely went. We were covering a women's T20 game. They just cut out 5 minutes or so. We were told, though, they're the best lights in the country.
Well, they have to be. Just see Hildreth advancing forward. Probably just outside the line as well. Umpire Steve O'Shaughnessy not interested. But I think he's trying to take out LBW because we've seen him do this a couple of times.
He did it a lot yesterday, just trying to probably negate any movement, whether it's through the air, possibly off the pitch, just to try and take out that LBW opportunity for Bailey.
That's what Bailey's looking for, isn't he? He's looking to try and trap you on the crease. His genuine away movement, his natural movement, but then just to nip one back.
Yeah, I think with heel drift, that's, you have to be okay to move and try and unsettle the bowler, but the key thing is just try and make sure that you're still on contact. Make sure that your head isn't moving too much. So, Azhar Ali get trapped. First innings, he was looking to use the crease more laterally. But with heel drift, he's just advancing down.
Seems a pretty sensible ploy to me, considering there's Bailey isn't express. Might be a different case. Jack Blatherwick comes on to bowl. Watched him yesterday. Hugely impressive. Got some pace too. Strong action, was released by Knotts. Took 4 for. Could have had a few more. He had Azhar Ali all over the place. Hugely impressive. No wickets in the second innings. Very strong action. Likened it to a little bit like Pat Cummins. But he's got pace. We don't have a speed gun here, which is disappointing. It'd be nice to see, but via the naked eye, it looked as though it'd be mid to late 80s. Of course, that was a guess, but that's what it felt like. Just moved deep backwards square into position. Again, the advancing Hildreth negates any movement from Bailey. End of the over, 233 for 4. Talking about that T20 final that Somerset have to look forward to this weekend. 4 teams coming through from the South Group. We toured the country on quarter-final week, back-to-back days. Durham to Nottingham to Taunton to Canterbury. All South winners. In the air, just falling short.
You guys covered a fair amount of the country, didn't you, over those 4 days?
You joined us for a couple. Where did you join us again?
I dipped in and out. I think I came down to Canterbury and Knotts as well. So I didn't do the one up in Durham.
You didn't do the Durham-Taunton leg then?
No, I definitely didn't.
Taunton. Somerset, rather, winners of the T20. 2005, that was when it was at the Oval, memory serves. Led by Graham Smith. Finalists 3 years in a row. 09, 10 and 11, but didn't win. Got some serious players in their side, though.
I think of Somerset, I think white ball cricket, they're always strong. 8 titles. I was surprised that they've only got that just one T20 title. Similar with Knotts. So they're always such a strong white ball unit. I was surprised to see them be knocked out in the quarterfinals.
as we know, the most successful T20 side in history is Leicestershire. Can't think why I'd bring that up. Maiden over from Danny Lamb, 233 for 4.
Yeah, about.
Quiet start. Somerset won't mind that at all. Still trailing by 50, just 7 runs at it this morning. Where's that gone? Goodness gracious. What a dismissal that is. Hildreth in no position to pull that at all. Little bit of away movement, it just balloons to backward points, and a gifted wicket, and Lancashire make their first breakthrough.
Yeah, just looking as if he's trying to force something there. It's been quite a quiet period leading up until this, and perhaps wasn't straight enough to pick it up, but ended up being a top edge, and rightly called by Rob Key in the back of the commentary box. I just heard him go, wicket.
Was caught by Jack Bradley.
He's gone for 26. Somerset 233 for 5.
The incoming batsman is Steve Davis.
Stephen Davis, the new man at the crease. Fabulous first-class career.
That's middle.
Comes to the crease after a fairly
He's coming right
auspicious
down,
shot by
Stephen.
James Hildreth. It was pretty ugly all round. Close, very close. Starting round the wicket, Bailey. There's the Hildreth shot. Talk us through that, Lid.
Yeah, I was just having a look back at it, and a couple of things. Probably not quite straight enough to pick it up. Didn't really get up, but either way, I think the movement of the feet wasn't quite there.
Big shout. Difficult from round the wicket, swinging back into the left-hander. Again, umpire O'Shaughnessy unmoved.
Just getting a bit more movement now. As soon as left-handers come in wide of the crease, movement in through the air. Late as well.
I don't think there was anything wrong with the line. It was height more than anything. I think the overriding aspect of that wicket and the description of it was your impression of Rob Key. He did indeed say that that particular ball, prior to it being bowled, was going to be a wicket, but just look at the height of an LBW shout. I did enjoy your impression of him. How does he speak?
Can only do it once, Daggers.
Laid you up. Come on. He said one word. He said one word. Come on, Lydia.
Yeah, he did. I heard it. He just sat behind me, hovering over my shoulder. Just heard him. He's wicked.
It's uncanny.
No ball.
No ball called. Just overstretching. End of a successful over from Tom Bailey. 235 for 5. Speaking of drafting you in after 2 days of this game, more people have been drafted in. Substitutions in and out. Alex Tudor, the back of the box. Dear Robert Croft is here with us as well. Lancashire have made that breakthrough. New batter at the crease and Steve Davis. Goldsworthy 8 off 46 balls. So Somerset still trailing. 48 runs. The thing about that dismissal is that you want to make it difficult. You don't want to be gifting. You want Lancashire to work hard to prize you from the crease, to make it really tough. And that was just a little gift, really.
Yeah, and up until that point, they were doing quite a good job. We spoke about the first half an hour of the day. Always so important for both teams. Just showing moments of resistance, but even though they look calm and composed, the nature of the dismissal of Hildreth just suggested otherwise. Maybe just quite keen to try and make a dent into the total. Still trailing by 48.
In the air for a little while, but confidently punched through the offside. First boundary for Lewis Goldsworthy.
Yeah, nicely played as well by Goldsworthy. I think he's played this on the up. It just shows how much of a good shot it was, in control of the blade. It's a nice check drive, no flourish of the bat. Always in control.
I just wonder with Lancashire now, there is a little bit of sideways movement through the air. Shouts a catch. No chance. Down at fine leg. Stephen Croft is there, but 20 yards or so away from the ball. Back-to-back boundaries.
Yeah, nicely picked up this time, just on the leg side. Did it nice and late, whip of the wrist.
It sort of hastens my thought about potentially how long the seamers will bowl for before we actually see a little bit of spin from whether it be from Parkinson or Wells. Beaten two of them. It's allowed Goldsworthy to go through for a single. A sloppy end to the over. 9 runs coming from it, 244 for 5. Your new ball's 24 overs away, so still a little bit of distance. Maybe a little blast from all four seamers, perhaps, before the spinners come to the fore.
Yeah, possibly. You guys were keen to see spin from both ends towards the back of the day yesterday. With these overhead conditions, you can understand why the seams are starting.
Not quite timed, but timed well enough from Goldsworthy. Picked up the pace in the last 5 deliveries or so.
Just slightly shorter this time from Bailey. Nicely played. Just good strong punch off the back foot. Picks it up nice and early.
Big shot, yes, given. Kept a little bit low, trapped on the crease. Mentioned that that's what Bailey is trying to do. He's trying to attack those stumps with ones that just nip back off the surface. The 2 overnight batsmen now departed.
Just nipped back in, hasn't it, from Bailey?
For 21.
Seen him get movement both ways already this morning. That's the end of Goldsworthy. He's gone for 21. Somerset now 248 for 6.
The incoming batsman, Roelof van der Merwe.
Middle stump. Right arm over, forward to come.
Well, the end is nigh. Roelof van der Merwe. They've been pretty good, have Lancashire with the ball. It's not been as easy this time round, but they're just starting to find their feet on this surface. Wide of the crease with a bit of swing. More importantly, I'm joined by Robert Croft. How are you, Crofty?
I'm good. It's looking like it's going to take me longer to drive down this morning than perhaps this game's going to last, I think.
Yes. Still get paid, though.
Oh, love of the game, Rob. Come on, come on. It's good. It's been a while since I've been to Taunton. Ground looks an absolute picture.
Good shot for none.
They've attacked the stumps this morning, just nipped back a little bit. Some people might think that that looked a little bit high, but a tactic that some batsmen use, put little pads on, don't they? I remember that. It was a little conversation that some batsmen used to have back in the day, was that they'd buy youth pads to try and con the umpire to think that the ball was going to go over the top because it beat the knee rope.
Come on, who did that? I can't think of anyone who did that.
Well, I was going to say Tony Cotty, but they were actually quite big on him.
$250 for 6.
Over left hand.
What have you been doing with yourself?
Yeah, bit of work. We're coming out of lockdown as well, obviously, and trying to make the most of a bit of summer that we had towards the end. It's been quite nice, quite dry. Local leagues of cricket clubs have finished up, and had their celebrations and that sort of thing. So it's been all right. I guess in some ways it's good that there's still some county championship to concentrate on, but it's very difficult this time of year. You must have had nightmares over playing batting in September.
Yeah, when you have those half-10 starts, that always used to be the nightmare, because you'd have a bit of dew on the ground, and that always meant there was just a little bit more in it than an 11 o'clock start. George Balderson, he'll just get a little bit of movement, nothing more than medium pace. Sort of bowler, though, that to someone like Steve Davies, who is not a massive stride person, so he doesn't go right at the ball, he plays from the crease. You end up just feeling at one. What have you made of the championship this year? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I've liked it. You know, it's a new format, and I guess there's been a little bit of uncertainty how it would play out. But I've actually liked the thought that all county sides can win the championship at the start of the season. Okay, you know, after 10 games, it does really give you a picture of where you're at. Yeah, I think it's fair to say 10 games. Find out where you're at then, and then, you know, the top 6 sides play out for the county championship. Some may argue then, okay, what's the point of the middle and the lower teams continuing to play? However, I do believe that it does give the clubs opportunity then to give younger players a chance in the team without the threat of Division 1 and 2. Did you play in the Kent team when you made your debut at the end of a season?
No, I started off in one division and came in early on at the start of the year. What I remember about that, when everyone had a chance, it was just one division. If you weren't up there in the first 5 or 6 games, it was like an 18 to 13s holiday where you're in Ibiza and everyone's just out on doing whatever they can. There's no intensity to it.
Not much change there then.
I'm not a fan of, I don't agree on the whole thing that everyone has a chance to win the championship, and that's a good thing. I just think I enjoyed the 2-division structure where you had the better teams at the top and playing against each other all the time. A sort of elitist system.
I'm going to sort of give a bit of a devil's advocate there, because I saw it run from its inception, and I think that there was a point at which it sort of killed itself.
$250 for 6.
Yeah, I think there was a point at which that initially it did sort of spice up every team's focus and really get them to consider how they were going to get a hell of a lot better. However, it quite clearly became obvious to everybody that there was a group of teams that were always largely going to be at the top and a group that were largely going to be at the bottom. And unfortunately, the sides at the bottom will find it more and more difficult to keep their better players and then make any sort of traction about moving forward.
Yeah, I suppose that the smaller clubs, you're saying. In counter to that, I would say someone like Gloucestershire had done really well, and they put in a good structure in place, had a good setup under Dawson, Harvey, people like that, and they managed to go, as a small club you would say, ended up going into the 1st division. Essex the same. Essex went from 2nd division to the 1st division, and then have been the best team in the country for a while. So you can do it if you can put in a good system, I suppose. Derbyshire have been in the 1st division, not often, but at times. Good shot.
I'll talk about the shot first, Rob. carved to the offside there for 3. Slightly slow outfield, drag back. Everybody knows it's gone for 3. I think you're always going to get the odd team that will go up and down, that's for sure. But it becomes really demoralising if you are in that bracket where, do you know what? Unless you go against everything, and when I say everything about developing your own grown players and enter into the market about looking about overseas players, you're always going to be down there. It gets really demoralising.
I suppose, isn't that where you've got to then produce the best players you possibly can? If you can't afford to sort of compete financially, I don't think that's necessarily the way either. Teams like Notts at times, I think they get away with it because they seem to cherry pick the best of all the other Midlands smaller counties, and they then pick them to their side. We've seen a player here today who got released by Notts, I think he got released. Jack Blatherwick, and then he's come here. He's been one of the better bowlers we've seen. But ultimately, every county should be trying to make sure they're producing as good a cricketer as they possibly can.
No, look, I stand by that, and that is something that every county will, I would like to think, be trying to do. However, we all know that behind the scenes, when a player creates a bit of a reputation, certain clubs come a hovering. How do you keep them to make sure they make a difference?
253 for 6.
Yep.
Well, the umpires are just getting together now. Whether that's just to look at the light, because that can be the only thing. I'm not sure it's raining. It doesn't look like it is, but it is pretty murky out there at the moment. I'd say it's darker than what it has been, certainly yesterday. The first day was a good day for weather, but it's a pretty grey, dank day here in the West Country.
Is that out towards the Quantocks? Oh, that way, Rob. You're a man of your areas.
Don't know. Our director is. That's a lovely shot. Just lent on a drive.
That is a beautiful shot. Vandermeer, naturally aggressive batsman, no matter what the situation of the game. Gets a good stride in. Pierces the offside. Gets 4 runs.
I'm now getting a tour from our director who's saying the Quantocks was what we just saw. And it's the Black Downs behind us. Edge, thick outside edge as well. Those moments where as a captain with a new batsman in Vandermeer, you start thinking about where can you get that extra catcher into the slip.
Yeah, he's gone hard at a good length ball. It would have been an easy catch there for 3rd slip. It's good length, just nips away a fraction. That's 4 runs. Lancashire won't mind though. Best chance of getting Vandermeer out is in playing shots with the ball swinging around and nipping fractionally.
Yeah, when you sort of get to this point, they sort of think he's going to play shots by the way they've got the field set. But in this, you could almost change it up and just bring that extra cover and have him catching and just leave a big gap out there on the offside if you want to have it that way with the split field, with the in-out field.
I know deep point has just fielded that ball, but why would you have a deep point? Wouldn't it have just gone to point anyway? Just think to myself, is that the fielder that could come in to 3rd slip, and then just have two people on the offside, as in cover point and wide mid-off.
Yeah, when you look at the situation of the game, and it's not a pitch as well that you're going to worry about chasing runs on this in the last inning. Especially as well, you've got now the batsman, or the more recognised batsman, on strike. It's almost like they're just trying to drag out that lead, where the chance where they don't have to bat again. They just keep that as far away for as long as they possibly can. Sort of thing where the batsman, the opening batsman, are thinking, come on, let's bowl them out so we don't have to strap the pads on. Go out and have to chase 20.
You openers are precious.
That is true. 262 for 6. Half a shout. Too high, probably going down as well.
They've had a tactic of bowling wicket to wicket. Yeah, that's a little bit of height, but it wouldn't have been too far from the line of leg stump, I don't think.
So the odd one, just keep low occasionally.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, that's a proper shot. Top of the bounce on the back foot. Not going to get a 4. But that just shows his intent. That wasn't the worst delivery. A little bit of bounce from that, bit of movement, and there's a chance of a nick.
Yeah, back foot punch, classical back foot punch between cover and mid-off. Outfield's not that quick. Fair bit of rain down here. Beautiful shot. Get somebody to take a picture of that one.
Oh, that pad is just falling across, or his head is just falling across and giving him just something to aim at.
They've really settled in on hitting a line and length on the stumps today. I haven't seen a bouncer bowled. I wonder if, you just see how he's falling across, that's thudding into middle and off. Just wonder whether the odd bouncer to Van der Merwe might make him check his shots a little bit, just hang back a touch more.
Yeah, good shout. That's the sort of thing that Dominic Cork was a nightmare when you played against Corky, because he'd sort of be like Bailey, where he's up and he's just looking to swing it out and he's trying to bring you forward. But his bouncer was horrendous. It was always at your head, and it was always much quicker than his stock delivery.
Wonder where that was.
You suggested he might have pinged it.
I never said a word wrong.
No.
I know it's sort of the pitch is saying that you must bowl 90% of your deliveries on around off stump on a good length. Yes, it does, and there is a bit of movement, but there are certain players where it's a build-up, isn't there? There's certain batsmen where you know that if they can settle into predicting where you're bowling, then they're gonna get on top of you. And I think Van der Merwe, even though you might get a hook or a pull away, needs a short ball.
No.
Yeah, completely agree. 264 for 6. Might see a bit of spin at some stage. I mean, with the lights on and the overcast conditions, but what do you make of Parkinson when you've seen him?
Yeah, I've seen bits. I mean, I've seen more of him in the white ball game, and I think that game suits him because he can take pace off the ball. I think historically he's been on the slower end of spin bowling as far as the pace that he bowls. And I think he likes it when the batsmen come after him. I think as his development goes on, it'll be about how he bowls people out in the longer format of the game, how he, on good pitches, can use his variations as well as have real good control over his stock delivery. And I guess Bills is able to absorb how the game is going, how players are playing, and make plans from there. I guess it's just maturing, Rob, and seeing that people through experience build up flight and guile. We used to talk about it, didn't it? It's basically that.
You say F and G, wouldn't it? Just try and get the ball up above the eye line, drop it back.
Get a bit of garlic on it. Dip. Sorry, I had to explain it for you there.
Yes. Do you think he needs more variation? Do you think you have to have a googly as a leg spinner nowadays?
Punched down the ground for one. Well, the greatest of the lot didn't have one, really, did he? That's Shane Warne. Punched down the ground by Davis. Just at the toe of the bat, doesn't quite get it out the middle. Yeah, low down. I'm not so sure he needs a googly. Guess if he's got one, brilliant. But I think if you can land your leggy really well, then you're well ahead.
One more intent as well from Van der Merwe. That will race away to the boundary. Slow outfield, but he can hit a decent ball.
It's a good shot. Van der Merwe has settled into his work, playing his aggressive style of cricket. Look how far out of his crease he's batting. Makes a decent length into a half volley. Doesn't get all of it, but gets enough of it for 4 runs. Just think that the umpires have looked at their light meter and been concerned about the light. But I think if the batsman hit 4, they shouldn't be allowed to go off.
The one thing we did see earlier on when they were warming up, having the slingers and all those throwdowns that they have, and then we were sort of wondering whether it was too dark, but you see them all going through the warm-ups. You think surely it's fine. And you wouldn't say anything we've seen at the moment is dangerous.
Well, they've all been pitched up, that's why. I'd like to see how a short ball gets played. But you are right, yeah.
Do you think it's a harder time now to be a spinner, to learn to be a spinner, than it was when, say, you were starting out, or not?
I do, because I think it's the approach of batsmen tends to be far more aggressive from the off. The aim is to get spinners off. I think also the tolerance of clubs and potentially coaches towards spinners' length of time that they take to develop is another thing. And also, I think, in some ways, the craft of spin bowling, I wonder if it's still talked about and still studied like it used to be. And that might have a little bit more of a wide region thing about spin and batting in all aspects. Is like a lot of players are really encouraged, find your own way. I'm not so sure they need a bit more input than that.
271 for 6.
Yeah, and on that, Rob, is that as well, you know, I think there are lots more things that come into it. We play a lot more cricket in championship cricket at the start and the end of the season, when seam is very, very dominant. And quite often the spin bowlers used to get the over rate up, an over before lunch, an over before tea, over before the end of play. So there's a lot of things that go into that.
Nearly played on. I saw Jack Leach here earlier, and just think Jack Leach hasn't played a lot of cricket. What did you make of the treatment of Jack Leach and then Moeen Ali coming in for him in the Test series?
Well, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the conversation, right? So how they, the England selectors, manage their players that in possession of the spot, players who have competed for the spot historically, what they want from their spinner. Is it an all-rounder role? Is it largely a spin bowling role? One thing's for sure is that Jack Leach has done very well when he's played, that's for sure. And he's a guy that's worked really hard. I can remember actually seeing him a fair bit when he was down in Cardiff University, down there, and worked really hard with, I think it was Kevin Lyons who was coaching down there at that time. And a guy who, you know, didn't have it easy to start with, has built a career for himself. But in any form of the game, you need a run at things, and you need to be in there for and have the confidence of people around you to, I believe, get to a point in which you demonstrate how good you are and how consistent you can be. And there's one thing that's for sure: if you're chopping and changing in and out, that doesn't help that.
Thick outside edge again, just 2 slips. That would have gone to probably around, what, 4th, 5th slip. But a boundary for Stephen Davies, 275 for 6.
Good length, just nips away a touch. Davis has a drive at it, and there's a wide third man, couldn't get across, stop it for 4 runs. Davis picks up another 4.
That thick outside edge takes Somerset to 8 behind Lancashire.
Well, seen as the early indications of this game is that it's not going to last a heck of a long time. I'm trying to get all the topics in right now. Are you a fan of a hands-off coach or a hands-on coach from a batting perspective?
I'm just a fan of a coach being right, really. I think there's a massive, massive trend nowadays in coaches. I call them Trevor Bayliss used to call them it as well, the sort of good shot, well bowled coaches who just throw your balls and tell you that all the time. And they don't actually give you any input into your game. We've seen so many batsmen this year with sort of bizarre techniques or methods and game plans that you would think, well, why are they doing that? And it's almost like they're left to their own devices. Take someone like Lammonby, who's had a shocking year, averaged 13 this year up until this game. And then he had got a brilliant 100, and he said he went and spoke to the coach who told him to have more intent to go and play. That's what I think coaching is about. You've got to be lots of different things as a coach. Some people you can be a bit more standoffish. Some people you need to give them a rocket. Some people you need to give them a bit of love and tell them they're great. Some people, you need to tell them a few home truths, and you've got to be able to fit all of those brackets. That's what great coaches do. But nowadays, there's a big thing. If you've got a good team, there's a big thing where you can just go and tell everyone they're great all the time and well done, and don't worry. I don't think you're earning your money doing that. I think we're going to look at the light. What are we looking at? The ball or the light meter?
I think there's a lot of mud on the ball. Something's happened. Where the seagulls come across the top.
Would you agree with that monologue I've just done there on coaching?
Sort of forgotten the start of it then. No, I do. I think they look, way back when, yeah, the style of coaching was quite tell, wasn't it? And you were told, and you sort of then just went and did, and it was quite a technical approach. Very often a technical approach. I think right now it's gone completely the other way. I think actually quite a lot of coaches, from what I've seen, have become more like facilitators, where they, they'll, obviously you can't ignore the environment, you have to make sure the environment is right. But quite often it's a focus of the softer skills, yes, but without a lot of focus on, enough focus, shall we say, on the technical side as well. I think that, it's, I don't want to get involved in the game, it's their game, I'll try and support them if I can.
But I hear a lot of coaches talk about it, so you can't sort of tell the players anymore, like what you're saying there, but actually I think you can, as long as I do a little bit of coaching here and there, but it's got to work both ways, where the player and the coach has to be receptive, and one thing you've got to be is right. So if you want to tell someone something, you've got to then be able to back it up and throw them a few balls and let it work straight away. Because you would have been in coaching. When did you finish at Glamorgan recently?
2018, yeah, 2018. Yeah, and sometimes I think coaches can sort of say, by staying out of it, you're not accountable for it.
276 for 6. Did you find it a completely different environment to when you played?
There was a steady progression from what it used to be to what it's become. Just the fact of used to train in whites. And now you train in flip-flops and t-shirts, and quite often. But certainly coaches were far more instructive, and the style was more often than not very much a technical style of coaching. Yeah, the softer skills weren't there, were they? It was quite blunt in a lot of respects. But I think a lot of coaches now still have to have the confidence in their knowledge to get involved in advising a player about what's going on with their game, rather than stepping back and saying, it's their game, I'm here to try and support wherever I can, and they'll find their way. It's a whole new topic that we could talk about for hours, I think, man.
Right, we got one more over. That might please or disappoint people, but anyway, what we've got Parkinson is now on. So Crofty, what I want you to do, you can talk us through this over as a spinner. Come on then, how are you set now?
Well, you would talk to your captain, what field do I want? This is the field I want. And I suspect you'll have had a good look at what this pitch is doing or is not doing. And from that, you draw up the plan of the pace and the line that you want to start off with. Most spinners want to get into the game, feel some dots, etc. But on this surface, you need to bowl a nice, tight off-stump line. And if it gives you a little bit of hint of spin away from the right-handed batsman, you've got a chance of the outside edge. And obviously, with a bit of side spin on the ball, you're going to get a bit of drift in towards middle and off, which could bring in bowled or LBW.
What about, he's got no bat pad or no one close apart from slip?
Well, they will know him as a bowler, and he will know himself. are they setting this field up for him to get into the game and feel confident?
That's nice.
That ball there is the perfect line. If he was critical of himself, if that was another foot shorter, which would give it a little bit more time to, if it did grip, to beat the outside edge or drift in and thud into the knee roll of the pad. Had that, if this pitch was turning more, that last delivery would be the perfect line. So you have to factor in what the surface is doing and draw up your tactic from there.
That is an ugly smear into the leg side.
Right, keeper.
That was a ball that, yeah, just gets hied over into the leg side, which would normally bring out a chirp from the bowler. Yeah. Which would obviously, had that gone to mid-wicket, the batsman would have walked off and said, well, that's just the way I play.
278 for 6.
Somerset trail by 5. On the brink of making Lancashire bat once more. Had Robert Croft and Robert Key coating off all modern coaching methods. And players. Players have put on quite a show for us here in 2 and a bit days so far at Taunton. In the air, it falls short of mid-on. A couple of dangerous players out here in the middle. Davies and Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe is very unorthodox, will find the boundary and find different ways of scoring and putting bowlers through their paces, or at least having them tear their hair out. Anyway, Davies is the fencer, kill you with 1,000 cuts. Doesn't matter who you are, and you've asked a team to follow on. They managed to get themselves into a bit of a lead. You start to get a tiny bit agitated as a fielding side. Managed to get a stint chewed.
Morning, Butch. Morning, everybody. Yeah, I was a little bit worried. I was a little bit worried, you know. Gone into the headmaster, asked some permission to drive down here, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, 90 all out. While the young lads, my first and second form, were doing their run.
Edged and it'll only be a single. Third man was quite fine. I can't believe that Kim Bolton School can do without you, Chutes. I mean, how is this possible?
No, we all muck in, and to be fair, and you know, obviously asked permission. Headmaster just said, look, as long as we've got some cover, and then spoke to the head of boys games, Mr. Lawless, and he said, no, you go and do that. So I was very grateful. But by the sounds of it, I could be back at doing after school football.
Gone. Alex Tudor might well be back for afternoon football. It's taken by Luke Wells at slip, who had a bit of a torrid time there in Somerset's first innings, but he clings on. What a game he's having. And that is the breakthrough that will make Somerset feel a whole lot more comfortable, with Somerset still 4 in arrears.
He's absolutely thrown the kitchen sink at that, Butch. Saw it shot wide, sort of led back, try to lambaste that through the covers. Good catch by Wells, good height. He's tall there at first slip, and Van der Merwe has to depart for 23. 279 for 7.
Wells off the bowling of George Balderson for 23. The incoming batsman, Marshall de Lange.
Same field, Baldy. Oh, get him up now, yeah. It's so bright. Okay, it's so bright now. Sorry, quick.
Martin de Lange makes his way to the crease. Prior to this innings, he'd had Somerset's highest score in Division 1 this season, which was 36. Average of 17. That 100 was the fastest 100 scored for Glamorgan in first-class cricket against Northampton, beating a record that was held by Gary Paul Butcher before him. So Van der Merwe can play. 279 for 7.
Well, he's absolutely, as I said, thrown the kitchen sink of that. It's a good catch by Luke Wells. As I said, a good height.
Coming over or round? Around. Coming round.
And he has to depart. So still in arrears. Somerset 4. And lot on Steve Davis.
Well, it is the 40-year anniversary of one of the great comebacks of all time, England against Australia in the Ashes 1981. I've just been checking with Benedict Babonge, who's at home in Bristol, but working extremely hard, as always. When England went past Australia, when England forced Australia to bat again back then in 81, they were 7 down. Somerset 7 down now. Steve Davis, could he be beefy for us? Martin de Lange, Graham Dilley?
It could happen, B. Can it? It could happen. One can dream.
Jack Blatherwick, hero of the first innings. But it is that sort of pitch, isn't it? I mean, put in mind of this because last week I was at a fundraiser for the Bob Willis Fund, raising money for prostate cancer at Olympic Studios, a cinema there in Barnes. Beautiful old place. And Beefy was there along with David Gower, Paul Allott, who also played in the 81 series, Graham Gooch. Showed that fabulous movie about that test match and about that summer. 40 years on. Gone. Martin de Lange won't be making a swift century today. Blatherwick once again finds exactly the right area. De Lange is hanging back.
That's a great catch, that's
Edged and caught superbly by Jones at second slip.
That's a fantastic delivery from Blatherwick. The batsman, lower order, not really getting his feet. He's on the crease. It's good length. And again, it's a good catch from Jones. And I just said, no miracle today from Merchant de Lange. And he has to depart for 0. 2-8 for 8. Still trailing by 3 Somerset.
the incoming batsman, Jack Brooks.
That's middle, Jack. Right arm over, forward to come.
Jack Brooks, he's the new man. He has a first-class 100 to his name as well, average of 16. 3 behind. We are in the realm of requiring miracles here, if you're a Somerset fan. Lancashire eyeing up a precious victory, one that'll catapult them up the table in Division 1. 3 slips in now. Third man in place. It's probably quite a good call here at Taunton. How old were you in 81?
3.5, because it would have been the summer. My birthday in October, so it'd have been 3.5. Just looking at that wicket again, it was good length. His feet stationed in the crease there, Butch, and as I said, Rob Jones with a good catch, a second slip. Not seen much of Blatherwick, but what I'm seeing.
Yeah, he's got some pace. Bowled really well in the first innings. Four for 28, career best figures for him. Generated good pace and looked to have plenty of stamina and skill to go with it as well.
One thing I look at when I'm looking at young bowlers is that brace front leg. Because for me, Butch, that's the difference between that sort of 80 mile an hour, 85, and if you're sort of 85 plus, can brace that front leg and get your body through it. That's the difference. This approach nice and upright. I just look about when it gets about here, gets in that coil, lovely coil position. And that brace front leg, look at that, how he gets through, fantastic. And that's why he can generate that pace. And that's why he generates that pace, people.
Yeah, nice work. Love the run up as well. If it was Athers or might even have been Charlie Dagnall yesterday saying that the run up reminds him a bit of Pat Cummins. He's got a bit of that in the run up. But a successful one for Blatherwick. 281 for 8. The deficit still 2.
Yeah, he's a lot of Pat Cummins in his approach. I reckon if I was going to say anything, I always remember what the great Courtney Walsh always said to me: when you're, 5 yards or so away from the crease, that's when you should be getting through it. It's all a bit one pace. And I think as he bowls more, for me it's just a little bit one pace, just as he gets halfway. But that brace front leg, that's where that pace comes from, and that's the difference, as I said, between that sort of difference between someone who bowls 80 miles an hour, 85, and that 85 up to 90, that brace front leg. And as he bowls more, he's only going to get better.
Yes, interested in what you say about I suppose it's probably the last 2 or 3 strides, isn't it, before you get into your delivery stride. You're looking for just a little bit more of an increase in momentum as you get to that point. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, he's good. He's strong in structure. Big, strong, strapping lad. Obviously, he's got the legend that is Glenn Chappell working with him, advising him. That's only going to improve him. And as I said, the more he bowls, he's only going to get better. And as I said, as he gets stronger, I don't know how much stronger he's going to get. He's put together. But he looks good.
Yeah, Glenn Chappell was a fantastic bowler. Nicked me off many a time.
Well, we're playing these games, Butch, these PCA Masters games. You know, a few years ago, obviously before COVID, and he'll turn up and he'll still bowl. I guarantee he'll still bowl 85 mile an hour. Guaranteed.
Oh no, they left it for one another. Jones, having taken a superb diving catch to his left in the previous over off Blatherwick, thought about it and then left it to Wells, who thought Jones was going for it. And the upshot of all of that is that Somerset have the lead by 2.
They've it's just gone past them, isn't it? I think the catching in the first innings wasn't great from Lancashire, and they'll be disappointed with that. That's regulation, really.
See, Jones looked like he was going to go for it, and then he stopped. Perhaps they're a little bit too close together there in terms of width. But Jones had dived across first slip to take the catch in the previous over. Thicker outside edge that time. Jack Brooks, I was talking about the fact that he has 100 to his name. It was when he was playing for Yorkshire against Lancashire. So still there's a glimmer of hope that we could get some kind of a miraculous turnaround in this game and make your trip worthwhile, Alex Tudor. The lead is 3, 287 for 8. It's been excellent this morning from Lancashire seamers. Blatherwick dismissed Davies in the first innings from round the wicket. Just had him caught on the crease, a little bit like that last delivery actually, just hanging the bat out at one. Nicely played. Davies allowing that one to come to him, but I don't know if you saw this. Choose the dismissal in the first innings.
Oh, what a delivery that is. Good length. And Steve Davis again caught on the crease, doesn't know whether to come back and forward, and when you've got someone who can generate that pace, that's what it does to batsmen. Just like the coiled position, Butch. You know, people always asking me, you know, how do I generate pace? How do I generate pace? There's some basic fundamentals that have to happen.
Well, I tell you what, being 6'4" with a huge pair of shoulders certainly helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, that helps. But to get the longevity, you know, you do get some strong-built lads who bowl really quickly, but they don't have that longevity. And that's what I like to see, but especially for the lower order. We just don't see it enough, you know. Lower order batsmen like to get forward, feel comfortable. They know a bumper's coming. The feet do some funny things.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you see teams getting sort of carried away with it from time to time. I always think it's worth giving them one early. Short leg in, one early. Shot from Brooks. field is a little heavy here at Taunton. There was a bit of overnight rain, a little bit of miserly stuff this morning as well, so it's perhaps not as quick as it had been in the first couple of days. But as that drive from Brooks illustrates, there are runs in this surface. I mean, Somerset, despite being 8 down and starting their innings 283 runs behind, have scored at over 4 and over in this innings. Absolutely rattled along. As Davies approaches, he's going to try and farm the strike. Does he trust Brooks? Hook it for 4 instead. That looked like it happened in slow motion. Such was the time that Davies had on that hook shot. 295 for 8.
Just has that ability, doesn't he? Just makes it look so easy, effortless. Just a bumper, yeah, no thanks. Just swiveled on it, dispatched it for 4. Glimmer of hope, Butch, while he's still there. And Jack Brooks has one of those days where he's just able just to hang around, score some runs as well, and you just never know. You get to 3 figures, people start getting a little bit twitchy. Openers are thinking, oh, hey, we got to go out there. But then, oh gosh, you know, Somerset bowlers, the tails are up. You allow Merchant de Lange to just bowl express pace, short spells. You just don't know.
Slashed away, that'll be 4.
Well, this delivery, it deserved the treatment what it got. Jack Brooks dispatching that for 4. And they're still believing, Somerset, that they can do something. And that's what you have to do. Say it to my kids all the time. Can you defend the good balls? You will get bad balls and dispatch them. Then all of a sudden, you know, start to build on that lead. Lancashire get frustrated. You get more freebies. He has a first-class 100.
$300 up for Somerset, and a buzzer as well to go into the mix.
Lead of 18. Just do it in 10s. Funnier things have happened.
Knocked him over. It's a beauty. Just nipped back. Jack Brooks pushed his hands out at the ball and it created the gap between bat and pad. His furniture's been rattled. 9th wicket goes down and the lead is only 18.
It's a good delivery, this. Balderston. Just like he got his pad in the way, the bat wasn't able to get to it. Just his pad's in the way there and it just rolls back to off stump. And Jack Brooks has to depart for a brief 15. And Somerset 101 for 9. Lead of 18.
The incoming batsman is Ned Lennons.
Ned Leonard, 19 years of age on debut. Has Stephen Davies for company.
Just his pad, his foot is pointing sort of towards extra cover. So the bat's not able to come in that straight path, getting in the way. Ball just nipped back, and Balderson will be happy with that.
It's obviously a cunning plan with the overthrow, wasn't it, to get Brooks back on strike. .301 for 9.
It's always a cunning plan, isn't it? Field's always thinking. Even though the captain be fuming, I could imagine Nasser in that situation. The old hands on hips, Tudor, what you're doing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the mistake was probably Somerset's, wasn't it? That there was no need to take it, really. Stephen Davies was on strike. He hadn't had to do anything risky to get there. So you might say, well, why didn't you just stay where you were? Take the rest of the over, maybe ping a couple more fours and try and farm the strike a bit more. But wasn't to be. Blatherwick now has fielders back on the fence, off and leg side. And that has been dispatched. Hook shot in the previous over was a delight. That was magnificent.
Well, it's always an indicator, isn't it? When you hit a fast bowler well in front of square. He's picked that up nice and early. Hit it like an absolute tracer bullet through mid-wicket. Good shot. Blatherwick, what you got? Steve Davis is going to be coming after you. Bowling at a good player. This is where it sort of just tests you a little bit. Will he go to a Yorker, slower ball? Does that sort of one-day form come into it now?
Good heat. And an invitation to hit that one, I think, from Blatherwick. If my East Midlands lip reading skills are as good as I think they are.
Yeah, no fast bowler likes to get pulled, especially well in front of square. So you're just letting him know, you know, it's not going to be as easy. Good pace.
Look for that Yorker. Davies happy to turn the strike over to Leonard. So 3 balls Blatherwick has at Somerset's number 11. Where's he going? Stumps, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think fast like the stumps. I know the old days it'll be, you know, let's see what he is up top, around the rib cage, that area. But I just think fast, full at the stumps, should be good enough.
Yeah, there's no short leg in, so there's not really much point in going for the body. Does go for the sticks, but loses it down the leg side.
Yeah, sometimes when you just try, and he just lost his shape a little bit there. Just pushing it. Stay nice and tall, as you would a top order batsman. Sometimes us bowlers, you know, we get carried away when a lower order come in. Just keep it simple. The same things as you would do to a top order batsman. Just keep doing that. Reason why he's batting 11. He might hit the odd one, but he ain't going to do it consistently. So he's telling young bowlers, don't get frustrated. If you go for a bounce, fine. But if you get him next, that is your job. Don't go searching.
Field goes back. Still 3 slips in place, but they're offering Leonard the single should he want it. Well, He decided that Leonard is to be trusted. 307 for 9.
Come on, boys. Keep trucking, keep trucking. It's hard working, Brad.
Well bowled, Mark Butcher and Alex Tudor. Almost. Inside edge just whistling past the stumps. Adds to this slight lead that Somerset have developed. You're all settled in now, Lydia. Takes us a while to get into these seats, especially when Alex Tudor has just been.
It's like an assault course trying to get into these chairs. There's chairs to negotiate, railings.
Things to plug in. I'm sure someone's talking to me on this at the moment, but I have to wait. As soon as I knew that Tudor was on the commentary team, it was my first thought. Him squeezing himself, his huge frame. Good. Balderson, Lancashire just searching for this last wicket. It won't be far away, surely. Although Somerset have been more resolute in this second innings. At 90 all out. The glaring statistic. Let's surely see Lancashire to victory here. It's worth just reminding as well. Lancashire will put themselves back in with a shout, depending on the other scores that are going around across the country. One more round of championship matches to go after this. We will take through those scores in due course. Hammered away. Should be 4 more, should run down the hill. It's just slowing up a little.
Yes, Bossy, on in.
The pace of Josh Bohannon saving the boundary. End of the over, 3:14 for 9. Also worth reminding everyone, there's 2 separate titles to be had. This caused much consternation in the commentary box before. We do have the Bob Willis Trophy final. But actually, whoever comes top of this Division 1 are the county champions. Then the top 2 will play off a separate Bob Willis Trophy final. Which, Lydia, seems a little strange to me.
Yeah, no, I agree, Daggers. Interesting. I was talking to Robert Croft about the structure of the county championship, and he actually saying that he likes it because everyone's in with a chance of the title. I think the sort of thing that people are questioning is that Bob Willis Trophy at the end, and you know, if you're the team who's won that in the build-up, you've won the county championship, and then you're playing in the Bob Willis Trophy again. The question is which one then carries more weight, but it suggests that having gone through a long county championship season and winning it, that's one that teams will be pretty pleased with. But either way, an achievement to win that Bob Willis Trophy as well.
I do like the end of season showpiece nature to it. The 4-day game should have that. Granted, going into October. Traditionally, the champion county has always won it at whichever ground they're playing the final game at. Trophy usually somewhere around the Midlands, depending on who's in with a shout at the title, on a motorway lay-by somewhere. Now Blatherwick, can he wrap this up? All the protection has come out. Short leg. I think it's the skipper and under the helmet. Yeah! Got him. Decision given. Strangle down the leg side. Little flick of the glove, and Somerset all out. Lancashire have wrapped things up very well in this first session of the day. Thought it would be a little bit more testing for them, but now just a little chase for them to achieve victory.
Yeah, probably wasn't the dismissal that Blatherwick was looking for with the introduction of that short leg. He might have been looking for a bit more height, but either way, it's resulted in the final wicket of the innings falling. So Leonard, he's gone for 6. Lancashire, 32 to win.
I think he's been hugely impressive in this game. He's not got a huge amount of first-class experience, was released from Nottinghamshire, but he's got something. He really does. He's got pace, strong action. 4 wickets in the first innings, 2 in the second. Granted, a little bit more expensive in this second innings. Fine young prospect, Jack Blatherwick. We'll be seeing a lot more of him, hopefully. So Somerset resuming this morning, 4 down. Lancashire's seamers have rolled through them with relative ease. Lots of starts in that middle order. Hildreth 26, Goldsworthy 21, Van der Merwe 23, Steve Davis unbeaten on 22. It's all about Lancashire's bowlers this morning.
Yeah, it certainly was. We saw the seamers do the damage in the first innings. Continued that on today. We saw the first 4 wickets fall to spin in Parkinson and Wells. He was very good with 3. And Bailey, Balderson and Blatherwick, 2 apiece.
Somerset won't be defeated by an innings. They have been in their previous 2 championship matches. Could very well be a very large margin of victory despite that. Chasing 32 runs to win. Our Lancashire after Somerset bowled out for 340. I'm sure Somerset were full of positivity to try and build on what they'd done yesterday. Lancashire too good this morning. Somerset succumbing, and a short chase which will start in around about 8 minutes time or so. Welcome back to the Cooper Associates County Ground in Taunton. Lancashire due to start a small run chase to win this game in a few moments' time. We've got lots of cricket to look forward to, though, over the forthcoming days on Sky Sports Cricket. On Thursday, we're going to be up in Bristol for the first Royal London One-Day International for the England women against New Zealand. That's a 12:30 start. Should be a really good series. 5 matches. You'll catch them all on Sky Sports Cricket. Starting in Bristol, going to Leicester and Derbyshire, and finishing in Canterbury. Friday, the first one-day international between Pakistan and New Zealand. That starts at 10:20 in the morning. And then Saturday, 3 matches to look forward to. Traditional finals day format at Edgbaston. It will be rocking, especially that Holly stand, jumping as it always is for 4 South Group participants in finals day Vitality Blast. That starts at 10:30 a.m. and then the resumption of the Indian Premier League on Sunday. That's at 2:50 in the afternoon. The Chennai Super Kings taking on the Mumbai Indians. So the state of the game in just the 3rd day. Lancashire's 373 responded to by Somerset. Paltry 90 all out. Jack Blatherwick with 4 for 28. And Somerset in their second innings, 314 all out. So Lancashire requiring just 32 runs to win, to pick up the 16 extra points. The wickets to fall this morning. It started poorly for Somerset. James Hildreth, a pretty ordinary looking pull shot, never really committing to it. Little bit of away movement from Tom Bailey, and the simplest of catches for Blatherwick at backward point. Bailey again trapping Lewis Goldsworthy on the crease to one that was just nipping back off the surface. Umpire O'Shaughnessy giving the decision Bailey's way. George Balderson picking up the wicket of Roloff van der Merwe, flailing away from the body, and again a little bit of sideways movement off the surface. Good catch from Luke Wells, who's had an excellent game for Lancashire. Balderson, Blatherwick disposing of Marchant de Lange with a smart slip catch, this time Rob Jones. Balderson with his second of the morning. Jack Brooks looking forlornly the deconstructed stumps, and then the final wicket, Blatherwick finishing things off as Ned Leonard strangled down the leg side. Smart catch from Alex Davis behind the stumps, and so the Somerset dismissals this morning, after I'm sure they would have hoped for far better than the 314 all-out they achieved. 6 wickets for Lancashire. Out come the openers. Just 32 runs to win. To get back in with an outside chance of having a say in the county championship. Alex Davis, who's Warwickshire bound at the end of the season. George Balderson, after doing his work with the ball, bat in hand. On strike for the first delivery, George Balderson. Sure, Lancashire will be hoping to knock these off with a minimum of fuss. Here's Jack Brooks. There you go, that's a perfect start.
Yep, just what they would have wanted. First ball, first boundary. Lancashire's second innings. Jack Brooks opening the bowling. He was good first innings, 4 wickets for him, but it's too much for them to do with the ball now for Somerset.
Well, I heard a conversation at the back of the box. I think it was Mark Butcher who was mentioning it. Somerset, their championship season is done. So they're going to want as full a fit a squad as they possibly can for this Saturday's T20 finals day. Can't see them racing in at 100%. Don't think we'll see Marchant de Lange. You want him fit. It's going to be 4 more. Getting on top of the bounce, Balderson. and a quarter of the runs needed already achieved.
Yeah, nice looking shot from Balderson, just rocking back into his back foot. Didn't go where he would have liked it to, would have liked it a bit more in front of square. Just rode the bounce.
No run!
It's probably the sensible idea though for Somerset.
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously it would have been disappointing not to have done as well as they would have liked to in this county championship, but with finals day lurking, you want your full team fit. You want to make sure that you're giving your side the best opportunity at another title. Always such a fun day, isn't it? Finals day up at Edgbaston. Full day's cricket.
It's a long old day, especially for supporters who are starting at 10:30. First over, 8 runs coming from it, 24 to win. As always, the Hollies hero. In the final, whoever's placed at deep mid-wicket, or the boundary rider in front of the Hollies. I remember one that sticks out in the mind was Gary Wilson of Surrey. They loved him.
From the River End, Ned Leonard.
And if you engage with them, it makes it a good time. Just be warned, fielders of Hampshire, Sussex, Kent and Somerset, someone's going to be it. Ned Leonard.
Yeah, it's the part of the ground where when you're that fielder, the first bit of fielding you do, you just pray it's good. Because if it's not, certainly won't let you forget it.
Yeah, you want to get them on side, don't you? Hammered away. 4 more. Too short. Davis too quick.
Yeah, first boundary for Davies and another back foot shot. He's played that nicely, he's seen it early. Just stayed tall on it as well, hasn't rocked back. Extensions of the arm through the ball.
No wasting of time from Lancashire's point of view. That's a good one. Positivity abound from Balderson and Davis. Going to get 1 or 2 of may just pass the bat. Also looking forward to seeing how creative the Hollies gets on Saturday. Pretty much the entirety of the standards in fancy dress. Shouts a catch, but goodness me, that's whistled away off the bat. He's timed that magnificently, Alex Davis.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is, just very good timing. Plays it nice and late, so he's in control. Managed to loft that over as a rally, just featuring in that mid-wicket area. Guessing we've got a mascots race this year, have we?
It's always a traditional part of it. Bumble commentating on it, racing round with them. Actually going to do this in boundaries. 4 of them so far in the 16. Should be a great day Saturday. Halfway there, 16 with that loss. Last championship cricket, last cricket. Those supporters will see at the county ground here in Taunton, unless I'm missing something. They're away at Edgbaston, final championship game of the season. Sided as a roaring trade.
Yeah, nice to see them enjoying the local tipple.
When in Rome. Well, they're always in Rome, but you know what I mean. I'm sure those with red roses on the chest have partaken as well. In the air, but deep point. Put in position.
Over, two to come. Thank you. Middle, please. That is middle. Off, please.
They always get good support down here, down at Taunton. Love their cricket. Chatting to the scorers next door, and they said they're putting on some coaches for the supporters for finals day. And we see a lot of Somerset fans make their way up to Edgbaston.
There's going to be some distance travel. Nicely played. Just rode with the slight away movement. Jack Brooks. Davis, his third four. Just 11 to win.
Yeah, just good awareness from Alex Davies of the field. The two slips. Gully. The point in the ring, but he's now gone back onto the fence.
Now a deep point being put in position. Leaves that gap open to steal the single. 3 overs gone. Now 10 more runs to win. Yeah, with all 4 finals day participants coming from the South group, so we've got coaches coming up from Canterbury, from Southampton, from Taunton, and from Brighton. We're doing a roaring trade. The motorways, you absolutely chocker around about. What would it be? 7 o'clock in the morning start, maybe even 6. It's a long old day.
Yeah, it's a long old day, isn't it? It reminds me of a day at the races. They're always the longest. Ascot. Yeah, at the Grand National.
Oh, go to Ascot, do we? Don one of those enormous hats to go to Ascot.
I've never been, daggers.
How do you know that?
Well, you just see it, don't you? Everyone stumbling around. I think I'd prefer to go on a day where you don't have to wear those hats and the heels as much as possible.
That's where we have a team trip next, Lydia.
Oh!
I think we have to wear top hat and tails, don't we? To go to Ascot. Don't have a top hat. Lancashire cruising to victory here. Just 9 more runs to win. There's a rally down that deep backward point, just keeping it to 1. Take a look at the other scores. The conclusion of this game. There's weather around though, which could make a little bit of difference to some of those going for glory in the First Division. Nottinghamshire leading the way as it stands at the moment. Well, Lancashire have done well and crept up on 1 or 2, not only with victory, but also there's some low scores around the country too, so they've picked up 4 out of the 5 batting bonus points available. Not many of those being picked up due to low scores across the country. The 4s have slowed, but the singles have picked up 7 more runs to win 25 outs.
Our match umpires have decided to extend play for a further 4 overs or 15 minutes until the lunch interval in view of the result possibilities.
That needs to be on, doesn't it? No!
A little bit of lift from Jack Brooks. He's one of county cricket's good guys. He really is. The ferret. Favourite son of Oxfordshire.
He's a great guy, isn't he, Jack Brooks? I did my level 3 coaching course with him, and he was fantastic, as he is in a team that he plays in. He gets everyone together, gets the morale going. 100% cricketer.
You need people like him throughout a course of a long county season. He's done it for a long time. Late to... He's actually late to county cricket. 25 years old. Northants. Rocky was talking about him just yesterday. Northants that went to Yorkshire. Did very well at that. Probably towards the autumn of his career down here at Taunton doing still a very, very fine job. Ooh, that's nasty, almost gone onto the stumps as well. Just misjudged it a little bit, Balderson. Followed him.
I just wonder if he's turned his head as well, maybe not watched it. Why it's that misjudgment, just with that left shoulder.
the mark. Lively finish. That Brooks over. 5 overs gone, 26 without loss. Six more runs for the Red Rose. There's 4 of them.
It's been a productive area, that region in this game, but again, nicely played from Davies, even though areas in the slips and the gully is occupied. Always in control of the shot, just an extra bit of width. Just opens the blade. Nicely worked.
So just 2 needed for Lancashire to complete victory.
Oh, wait there.
It's been a very impressive performance all round. Started right from that first day. Being asked about first, winning the toss, or losing the toss and being inserted on a green-looking pitch. Luke Wells and Josh Bohannon played. 373 all out.
No.
The bowlers just ripping through Somerset yesterday. Whether it's enough? For the title, perhaps, but maybe entry into the Bob Willis Trophy final, who knows? That wasn't far away. I think if you manage to lay bat on something and it goes through the onside, this game is done.
Yeah, a couple of slips still in place, a gully point. Front of squares, a big gap for Davies. Slightly short, keen to get onto it.
It's another game that bowlers play. Don't let the winning runs get hit off you. Flicked away. The second run should be easily completed, despite the swift throw of Azhar Ali. And the cheers go up from the Lancashire dressing room. It's been a comprehensive victory, a complete one from the Red Roses' point of view. 10 wickets the margin.
So many congratulations to Lancashire.
Quite right, the handshakes and the high fives going around the dressing room. Somerset, no answer to the seamers yesterday. Granted in helpful conditions, but they put the ball in the right areas. Somerset just did not have any response with the bat. 90 all out was the killer innings, despite a more resilient second innings, just simply not enough. Lancashire propel themselves up the Division 1 table. Somerset, their county championship season pretty much over.
Vitality Blast finals action. Somerset getting underway against Hampshire, of course, in the first game on Saturday. If you are leaving the ground, thank you for your support. But please
Yeah, very good from Lancashire
via the Somerset shop.
by some good individual performances. Luke Wells in the first innings, a brilliant 100 from him. Not bad bowling either as well to back that up. But Somerset, third big loss in a row for them. Just feel it's that confidence in their batting. Started the season so well, 4 out of 5 wins, but they've tailed away since then. It's all about Lancashire. Nice win for them.
The last cricket at Taunton. Somerset supporters will be disappointed, although they've got something to look forward to on Saturday. There you go. Simplicity itself. Alex Davis, 22 from 20. Josh Balderson, 10 from 16, completing 32-run target without any wickets falling.
As you would expect, not many bowlers used at all, just the 2, 3 each for Brooks and Leonard, who were wicketless, and Leonard, he lost the game. The winning runs came from him.
Well, Somerset have been defeated by an innings in their first 2 Division 1 games. Doesn't make much better reading in third. 10 wickets, the margin of victory for Lancashire. Well, this is how it stands. From 5th to 1st, albeit those asterisked 4s. Games in progress at the moment, so that will change either today or tomorrow. That gets them to 54.5 points.